Good morning. It's Easter Sunday here, and I've just been wandering around the back of the lot here and decided, well, I've had a great week in flipping, and I wanted to pass along some information to some of you out there that's interested in getting in this. And the first thing that comes to my mind this morning is I'm into flipping, and of course we talk about getting a car dealer's license, and a lot of you may think that that's really what we are. But first and foremost, I'm a flipper, and I use the car dealer's license just to gain inventory, to get access to inventory. So there's two, I guess, different aspects of our business. It's what you've got access to that will help you become successful in your flipping. And of course, we talk about car flipping. But then this week, I want to talk about, I've had an exceptional week in flipping. For instance, a van that I used the vision of creating an RV out of it, and sold it very successfully. I'll be showing pictures of it momentarily. And this time of year in flipping, when we talk about car flipping, a lot of people talk about just flipping cars. Well, I'm into flipping anything, quite honestly. If there's a buck in it, or if it's fun to work with, that's what I do. And so I'm a seasonal type person. I love motorcycles. I love recreational vehicles. And so I tend to direct my focus on things that I enjoy. Recreational vehicles to include boats and motorcycles and stuff that we normally take for granted that that's a luxury item. Well, I got to tell you that when you're dealing in those type items, you go into a different market. You're not dealing with someone who, oh, well, if it's worth that in the book, or if it's I can buy one cheaper somewhere else. That is the type of market that I like. I don't really care what the book says about, frankly, anything that I own. If I own it, I say what it's worth, because I'm the one that put out the expense to own it. So a lot of times I don't let the book rule me or anything like that. And I buy things that, hey, if I don't sell them, no big deal. And it works for me that way. I read a book by Jeffrey Gitomer a long time ago, and I love the quote that people don't like to be sold anything. So, but they love to buy. And so I have a lot of people that come to me because I'm riding a motorcycle, or I'm driving an RV, or I've got a custom van, that say, well, are you wanting to sell that? Well, not particularly, but it can be bought. And so I do very well on those type items. And one item I want to talk to you about was a 2006 van that, like I said, I'll show pictures of. But I had it for 5 days, and I had envisioned creating an RV out of it. But I've already got, as you see, a couple of RVs that are going on right now. So it was no big deal. It was just another dream that I had, and I bought the van. And within 5 days, someone come along and had the same vision that I had, and I wound up selling them the van and made a handsome profit on it. But it wasn't because, and I put it up on Craigslist, hey, this is for sale. And I had several calls on it because it was an item that really is not on every street corner. It's not on, and when you're looking at a sedan or you're looking at an SUV, they're everywhere. You're just trying to find the person's budget and have a good car. But when you're dealing with an RV or a motorcycle or something like that, the budget is more or less, they can envision themselves in that RV camping out. They can envision themselves on that motorcycle and riding and to some place. And so when you've got that kind of freedom to offer someone, they automatically their budget seems to go out the window. They don't really look if it's a good buy or not, because they're not buying the vehicle itself. They just want a good vehicle. But what they're really buying is something that represents their freedom. So I find those things do very well for me. So you might want to give some consideration. This morning I was sitting out here in the van. I looked out on the road and I saw a guy pull up, and he wanted to look at one of my motorcycles, and he asked me if it was for sale. And, the same thing I say, hey, it's got a price on it, but I'm not really looking to sell it. Well, I priced him mine, and lo and behold, he had one, and he says, well, and what he was really looking for was to kind of gauge what his was worth. And he asked me, well, do you think mine's worth that? And I said, of course not. Mine's not worth that. It's what it takes to get it. You didn't ask me what it's worth. It's what it takes to buy it. And so he said, well, I'm trying to get, $3,000 less for mine. And, surely mine ought to be worth $3,000 less if you're asking this for yours. And so I bought his. Yeah, bring it to me. I think it's underpriced. He was needing the money, and so I just bought his motorcycle. He also had a zero-turn lawnmower that he bought last year, and I bought it as well. So, I flip anything, motorcycles, lawnmowers, it doesn't matter to me, because you catch people out there sometimes that just realize they want to change in their lives, and for some reason or another. So I want to separate the fact that, yes, the car dealer's license is important to me because it gets me access to a huge amount of inventory. Not this Craigslist crap where people's out there thinking that they've got something's worth, but that's worth a dollar amount because they're pricing it based on what the next guy is pricing his at. They have no perception of what the market value is on anything. And, cash is king. So when somebody can tell you what something's worth, well, it's when the Ben Franklins and the cash comes out. That is what something's worth, not these hypothetical things. Well, I've got this, and this guy, he wants $10,000 for his, so mine's got to be worth $10,000. That's a lot of bull. It's worth what somebody will pay for it. And in order to sell anything, you got to have access to things to sell. And so that's why I talk about the dealer's license so much. And you'll hear me talk about so many things that the dealer's license represents. Number one, I've gotten further away. I love auctions, don't get me wrong, but I'm more or less geared toward power sports auctions now. But the dealer's license are so beneficial because you don't have to register the vehicle. You don't have to pay tax on them. You don't have to wait for the title to be shipped back out to you. You can go to it. You see something on a dealer's lot, and that's something else I don't want to talk about. This video is kind of long, but there is this misconception, and it is a huge misconception, that you are going to pay less from a private owner than you are from a dealer. Yesterday, for instance, I bought, as a matter of fact, last month, I bought 2 motorcycles from dealers, people that, hey, they buy and sell motorcycles. Well, I bought both of their motorcycles from dealers and have huge profits working on them. So I find for me, because I've got a dealer's license and I'm more accustomed to knowing that the dealer is not emotionally attached to the item. He bought it to make money. And I don't care if a dealer makes money off of me. I really don't care. I told one dealer yesterday who I know for a fact made $1,000 profit off of me. Okay? And I told that dealer, I don't care how much money you make. What I care about is how much money you left me to make. So don't run around here thinking that you're getting things cheap. It doesn't matter if it's cheap or not. What does matter, if you want to flip and you want to earn money and you want to have fun doing, what matters if there's money left for you to earn. you never really overpay for anything. My mentors have taught me you don't overpay for anything, providing there's a profit left in it. And that's the philosophy that I follow. Now, I don't go out and pay just extravagant prices for anything. I look for things that I know that I can use, and while I'm using them, I'm getting the benefit of using them and then selling at a profit. I just sold one of my vans this week, my personal vehicle that I had just put license plates on. I do that with one or two vehicles a year. I put license plates on and register it. So a perfect example was that I bought this van at a dealer auction almost 2 years ago. I did personally license, so it was for sale by owner vehicle. I drove the vehicle almost 2 years and still sold it the other day for a profit. In other words, it cost me nothing to drive that vehicle for 2 years, and I still made a profit on that vehicle. This is because I had the privilege of buying at dealer-only auto auctions. So I want to encourage you to get in to this. Take the privilege wherever you can find it, be it at a public auction or whatever, but change your life because you change your attitude toward life. Take advantage of some of these things. These people, one of the things that I've got to where I will not answer, I have a lot of you, and I want to point this out. The person that contacts me that asks me how much it costs to be in my program, I don't even really answer that question, because if a person sees my opportunity as a cost to them, I don't want them in the program. Frankly, I don't mean to be rude, but I don't believe a cost. This is an investment. This is a privilege. This is your opportunity to change the amount of money that your household takes in a year. And you change that by making an investment. If you use the term cost me, you do not have the mentality that I'm looking to align myself with. This is an investment. This is a privilege, just like your driver's license is a privilege. How much do any of you assume that your driver's license costs versus what you get in return? That's ridiculous. It's a huge privilege, an opportunity for you to get your kids to school, to go to work, and to do anything. So in essence, your driver's license is the best investment that you can make. To me, that's the same mentality that I have with my dealer's license.